Did you know that hidden deep within the history of modern cats lies a forgotten predator from millions of years ago? Its name, Magerifelis peignei, a small cat from ancient Europe, yet carrying secrets that shaped the very origins of the feline dynasty we know today. Picture this, a body no larger than a house cat, but don't be fooled. This was one of the earliest true cats, a pioneer in the lineage that would one day give rise to lions, tigers, and leopards. Its fossils, discovered in Spain, are so rare that each fragment of bone has the power to rewrite what we thought we knew about evolution. And here's the twist. Despite its tiny frame, Magerifelis was a hunter. Silent, swift, deadly. Birds, reptiles, small mammals, none were safe from its lightning-fast strikes. Even its name carries a message from the past. Magerifelis, the cat of Madrid, forever tied to the land where it once roamed. But the most astonishing truth? Though it vanished millions of years ago, its legacy still pulses through the DNA of the cats that curl up on our couches today. This is the story of a small predator that quietly laid the foundation for an empire of felines across the world. And now, it's time to uncover 7 shocking facts about Magerifelis peignei, facts almost no one has ever heard.
This intricate double helix, the blueprint of life, elegantly unzips to reveal the genetic code.
Fact number 1. The ancient cat of Spain. Can you imagine a world 15 million years ago? A Europe untouched by human hands. No cities, no roads, no voices of civilization. Only endless forests, sprawling grasslands, and the constant struggle for survival among creatures long vanished. It was in this untamed landscape that a small predator emerged, Magerifelis peignei. Its fossils were discovered in Spain, in the very soil where modern life now thrives. The irony is striking. Beneath the bustling streets of Madrid, beneath the noise of cars and the rhythm of human life, once prowled a cat so ancient that it predates nearly everything we know about the feline family. This was the Miocene epoch, a time of dramatic change. The earth was warmer, tropical forests were shrinking, and open grasslands were spreading. Species were forced to adapt or vanish. And Magerifelis was one of those early survivors, carving out its place in a shifting world. What makes this creature extraordinary is not its size, but its role in the grand story of evolution. Magerifelis peignei is considered one of the earliest true cats in Europe. It carried the defining traits of the Felidae family: razor-sharp teeth designed to slice flesh, retractable claws for silent stalking, and a body built for speed and agility. In many ways, it was the prototype, the blueprint, for every cat that would follow. But here is the twist: it was no giant. Unlike the saber-toothed cats or the massive lions that would come later, Magerifelis was no larger than a modern house cat. Yet in its world, size was not weakness. Its small frame made it stealthy, quick, and efficient. It could slip through undergrowth unseen, leap with precision, and strike down unsuspecting prey, birds, reptiles, small mammals, before they even sense the danger. In its ecosystem, Magerifelis was a master of ambush, a predator perfectly tuned to its environment. The fossils of this cat are incredibly rare. Each fragment of bone is like a missing piece of a colossal puzzle. A puzzle that tells the story of how cats came to rule as some of the most successful predators on Earth. Every discovery of Magerifelis reshapes our understanding, forcing scientists to reconsider the timeline of feline evolution. Even its name carries weight. Magerifelis combines Mageri, a reference to Madrid, with felis, meaning cat. Quite literally, it is the cat of Madrid. A name that ties it forever to the land where it once roamed. A whisper from the past reminding us that beneath the modern city lies a forgotten kingdom of predators. And though Magerifelis disappeared millions of years ago, its legacy endures. Not in fossils alone, but in the living descendants that walk among us today. Every lion that roars on the African plains, every tiger that stalks the jungles of Asia, every domestic cat that curls up on a sofa, they all carry echoes of Magerifelis peignei. It was one of the foundations upon which the empire of cats was built. But here's where the story takes an unexpected turn. If you're picturing a small, harmless creature, think again. Because the next fact will shatter your expectations about its size, its role, and the surprising truth of how this tiny predator shaped the destiny of cats. Fact number 2. A predator smaller than expected. When we think of prehistoric cats, our minds often leap to giants. Saber-toothed predators with fangs like daggers. Lions the size of small horses, prowling the plains. Creatures so massive, so terrifying, that they dominate our imagination. But Magerifelis peignei breaks that expectation. Because this ancient cat was small. In fact, it was no larger than the cats we keep in our homes today. At first glance, that might sound underwhelming. A tiny predator in a world of giants? How could such a creature matter? But here is where the story becomes fascinating. In the Miocene epoch, size was not the only measure of power. Survival depended on adaptability, on stealth, on the ability to strike quickly and vanish just as fast. And in this arena, Magerifelis excelled. Imagine the landscape of Europe 15 million years ago. Vast grasslands stretched across the horizon, broken by patches of woodland and scrub. Herds of small herbivores grazed in the open, while reptiles basked in the sun. Birds filled the skies, their calls echoing across the plains. It was a world teeming with life and danger. Larger predators stalked the herds, but in the shadows, in the undergrowth, a smaller hunter waited. Magerifelis was built for this world. Its body, compact and agile, allowed it to slip silently through the brush. Its retractable claws gave it the advantage of stealth, keeping its steps quiet until the final moment. And when it struck, it did so with explosive speed. Birds, lizards, small mammals, none were safe from its ambush. In its ecosystem, Magerifelis was not a giant, but it was a ghost, a shadow, a predator that thrived not through brute strength, but through precision. This is the paradox of Magerifelis. Its size was small, but its significance was enormous. Because in being small, it revealed something profound about the evolution of cats. It showed that the success of felines was never just about size or raw power. It was about specialization, about finding a niche and mastering it. And Magerifelis mastered the art of being small. Think of it this way. Lions and tigers may rule the open plains and dense jungles today, but the vast majority of cats on Earth are small. From the lynx of the northern forests to the margay of South America, from the serval of Africa to the domestic cats in our homes, most felines are closer in size to Magerifelis than to a lion. In many ways, Magerifelis was not an exception, but the beginning of a pattern. A reminder that small cats are just as vital, just as deadly, and just as successful as their larger cousins. And here's the twist. Its small size may have been the very reason it survived as long as it did. Larger predators often face extinction when ecosystems shift, because their massive bodies demand massive amounts of food. But smaller predators can adapt. They can change prey, change hunting grounds, and slip into niches that giants cannot. Magerifelis was proof of this evolutionary truth. Yet, despite its advantages, its story did not last forever. Like so many species, it eventually vanished, leaving behind only fragments of bone and whispers of its existence. But those fragments tell us something extraordinary. that even the smallest predator can leave the largest legacy. So the next time you look at a house cat, watch the way it crouches before it pounces, the way its eyes lock onto its target, the way it moves with silent precision. Remember this. You are seeing echoes of Magerifelis peignei, a predator from 15 million years ago, whose size may have been small, but whose impact was monumental. And yet, this is only part of the story. Because if size was not its strength, then what was? To answer that, we must look at its place in the grand chain of evolution. A chain that connects this tiny hunter to the great cats of today. Fact number 3. A crucial link in evolution. When scientists uncovered the fragile bones of Magerifelis, they realized they were not just holding the remains of a small predator. They were holding a key that unlocked one of the most mysterious chapters in the story of cats. Because Magerifelis peignei is not simply another extinct species, it is a bridge. A bridge between the primitive carnivores of the past and the true cats that dominate the world today. To understand why this matters, we need to step back. Before the Miocene epoch, the world was ruled by a variety of carnivorous mammals, nimravids, barbarfelids, and other cat-like hunters. They looked like cats, they hunted like cats, but they were not true members of the Felidae family. They were evolutionary experiments, branches that would eventually wither and die. Then, around 15 million years ago, something extraordinary happened. The first true cats appeared. They were smaller, more specialized, and more efficient than their predecessors. And among the earliest of these was Magerifelis peignei. This tiny predator carried the defining traits that would shape the destiny of all felines: retractable claws, specialized carnassial teeth for slicing meat, and a body built for stealth and speed. In its DNA lay the blueprint for lions, tigers, leopards, cheetahs, and even the domestic cats that curl up in our homes today. Without creatures like Magerifelis, the feline dynasty might never have risen to power. Think of it as a missing page in a book. For decades, scientists had fragments of the story, giant saber-toothed cats on one side, modern cats on the other, but the middle chapters were unclear. Magerifelis filled that gap. It showed us how small, adaptable hunters paved the way for the great predators that would follow. But its importance goes beyond science. It forces us to rethink what survival really means. Evolution does not always favor the biggest, the strongest, or the fiercest. Sometimes, it favors the adaptable, the quiet, the overlooked. Magerifelis was not a giant, but it was a survivor. And in surviving, it passed on the traits that would define an entire family of animals. Imagine the chain of life as a vast river. Some branches split off and vanish into the sand, leaving no trace. Others merge into the main current, carrying their legacy forward. Magerifelis was one of those vital tributaries, feeding into the great river of feline evolution. Without it, the current might have flowed in a very different direction. And here lies the poetic irony. Though it was small, though it left behind only a handful of fossils, its influence is immeasurable. Every roar of a lion, every leap of a leopard, every purr of a house cat carries within it the echo of Magerifelis peignei. So the next time you see a cat, whether in the wild or in your living room, remember that you are looking at the living legacy of a creature that walked the earth 15 million years ago. A creature that bridged the gap between the ancient and the modern. A creature that proved that even the smallest predator can shape the destiny of giants. But the story does not end here, because even its very name, Magerifelis, carries a hidden meaning, a message from the past that ties this predator forever to the land where it was found. Fact number 4. The meaning behind the name. Names are powerful. They are more than just labels. They are stories, memories, and identities compressed into a single word. And the name Magerifelis peignei is no exception. In fact, hidden within its syllables lies a message from the past. A message that ties this ancient predator forever to the land where it was discovered. The word Magerifelis is built from two parts. The first, Mageri, is a reference to Madrid, the region of Spain where its fossils were unearthed. The second, Felis, is Latin for cat. Together, they form a name that translates quite literally to the Cat of Madrid. At first, it may sound straightforward, almost ordinary. But when you think about it, this name is a bridge across time. It connects the bustling streets of a modern European capital with a forgotten world that existed 15 million years ago. Imagine it. Beneath the foundations of Madrid, beneath the stone and steel of a modern city, once prowled a predator so small, so silent, that it left no trace except for the bones buried deep in the earth. And when those bones were finally uncovered, scientists chose to honor that connection. They gave it a name that forever anchors it to its birthplace. Magerifelis is not just a scientific designation, it is a reminder that history is layered, that beneath every city lies a story far older than humanity itself. And then there is the second part of its name, peignei. This is a tribute to Christian Peigne, a French paleontologist whose work has been instrumental in uncovering the secrets of ancient carnivores. By attaching her name to this species, the scientific community ensured that her contributions would live on, intertwined with the story of this ancient cat. In this way, Magerifelis peignei is not just a fossil, not just a species, it is a monument. A monument to both the land that preserved it and the people who revealed it. This duality, the land and the scientist, the ancient and the modern, makes the name itself a kind of poetry. It tells us that science is not only about bones and data, but also about memory, legacy, and human connection. Every time the name Magerifelis peignei is spoken, it carries with it echoes of Madrid's ancient past and the dedication of those who strive to uncover it. But there is something even deeper here. Names in paleontology are often the only voice an extinct creature has left. They are the way we remember them, the way we keep them alive in our collective imagination. Without a name, a fossil is just stone. With a name, it becomes a story. And Magerifelis is a story worth telling. Think about it, millions of years ago, this cat lived, hunted, and died, never knowing that one day its bones would be found, its existence remembered, and its name spoken by people across the world. In giving it a name, we gave it a kind of immortality. So the next time you hear the name Magerifelis peignei, don't just think of it as a scientific term. Think of it as a bridge. A bridge between past and present, between predator and scientist, between the silent earth and the voices that tell its story. And yet, a name, no matter how meaningful, cannot tell us everything. To truly understand this predator, we must look at how it lived, how it hunted, how it survived. Because behind the name lies the beating heart of a hunter. Fact number 5. The agile hunter. If there is one truth that defines cats, both ancient and modern, it is this: they are hunters. Every muscle, every bone, every instinct is shaped by the art of the hunt. And Magerifelis peignei was no exception. Though small in size, it was a predator honed by evolution to be swift, silent, and deadly. Picture this: the Miocene landscape 15 million years ago. The air is warm, the grasslands stretch wide, and life teems in every direction. Birds dart across the sky, reptiles bask on sunlit rocks, and small mammals scurry through the undergrowth. To most, this is a world of abundance. But to Magerifelis, it is a world of opportunity. Every movement, every sound, every flicker of life is a potential meal. Its body was built for ambush. Compact, flexible, and agile, It could slip through the brush without a sound. Its retractable claws, one of the defining features of true cats, were weapons of precision. Hidden as it stalked, unleashed in a flash when the moment came. Its teeth, sharp and specialized, were designed to shear flesh cleanly, to end a struggle quickly. And its senses, sight, hearing, smell, were tuned to detect the faintest hint of prey. Imagine a bird pecking its seeds, unaware of the danger lurking nearby. In an instant, Magerifelis would spring forward, claws extended, jaws snapping shut. The hunt was over before it began. This was not brute force. This was elegance, efficiency, the perfection of predation in miniature form. And here lies the paradox. Though it was no larger than a house cat, Magerifelis carried within it the same instincts that drive lions to stalk zebras, leopards to ambush antelope, and tigers to prowl the jungle. The scale was different, but the essence was the same. It was a hunter through and through. But what makes Magerifelis truly fascinating is not just how it hunted, but what it represents. It shows us that the success of cats has never depended solely on size or strength. Instead, it has always been about strategy, about patience, about the ability to strike with precision at exactly the right moment. In this way, Magerifelis was a master. Its prey may have been small, birds, reptiles, rodents, but its role in the ecosystem was vital. By controlling populations of these creatures, it maintained balance in its environment. It was a reminder that even the smallest predator can shape the world around it. Think of the cats we know today. Watch a domestic cat crouch before it pounces on a toy. See the way its body coils like a spring, the way its eyes lock onto the target, the way it explodes into motion at the perfect moment. That behavior is not new. It is ancient. It is the echo of Magerifelis peignei, carried forward through millions of years of evolution. And yet, for all its skill, for all its elegance, the story of Magerifelis is fragile. Because the evidence we have of its existence is vanishingly rare. Its bones are few, its fossils scattered, its story incomplete. Which brings us to the next truth. Fact number 6. Fossils as rare as secrets. When we speak of prehistoric giants, dinosaurs, mammoths, saber-toothed cats, we often imagine museums filled with towering skeletons, their bones assembled into monuments of deep time. But Magerifelis peignei is different. Its story is not told through grand displays or endless fossil beds. Its story is whispered through fragments. Pieces of bones so rare, so delicate, that each one feels like a secret reluctantly revealed by the earth. Only a handful of fossils of Magerifelis have ever been discovered. A jawbone here, a tooth there. Tiny fragments of skeletons scattered across the soil of Spain. To the untrained eye, they might look like nothing more than broken stones. But to paleontologists, they are treasures, keys to a forgotten world. Each fragment is studied with painstaking care, because each one has the power to reshape what we know about the origins of cats. This scarcity is both a curse and a gift. A curse, because it leaves us with more questions than answers. How exactly did Magerifelis move? Did it climb trees like a leopard? Did it stalk the grasslands like a cheetah? Did it live alone or in small groups? With so few fossils, these questions remain mysteries. But it is also a gift, because it reminds us of the fragility of history. It forces us to value every discovery, to treat every bone as a sacred clue in the puzzle of life. Imagine the work of a paleontologist. Hours spent under the blazing sun, carefully brushing away layers of soil, hoping to uncover something more than dust. Days of cataloging, measuring, comparing. And then, the moment of revelation. A tooth, small but unmistakably feline. In that instant, millions of years collapse into the present. The hunter that once prowled the Miocene grasslands is alive again, if only in our imagination. But fossils are not just bones. They are time capsules. Locked within them are chemical signatures that tell us about diet, about climate, about the very environment in which Magerifelis lived. A single tooth can reveal what it ate. The wear on its surface can show how it hunted. Even the soil around the fossil can whisper secrets about the world it once knew. And yet, the rarity of these fossils means that every new discovery has the potential to overturn old theories. One fragment might suggest it was more arboreal than we thought. Another might hint at a different diet. In this way, Magerifelis remains elusive, refusing to give up all its secrets at once. It is as if the earth itself is rationing the truth, piece by piece, daring us to keep searching. There is something poetic about this. A predator that once moved silently through the shadows now leaves only the faintest trace of its existence. It hunted in silence, and now it speaks in silence. Its story is not shouted through massive skeletons, but whispered through rare, fragile bones. And this is why Magerifelis matters. Because it reminds us that history is not always obvious. Sometimes, the most important stories are hidden, waiting for those with patience and dedication to uncover them. But fossils, no matter how rare, can only tell us so much. To truly understand Magerifelis, we must look beyond its bones. We must look at the legacy it left behind, the living echoes that still walk among us today. Fact number 7. A legacy that lives on. Extinction is often seen as an ending, a final silence. A species vanishes, its story closed forever. But in the case of Magerifelis peignei, extinction was not the end. It was the beginning of a legacy that still walks among us today. Though this small predator disappeared millions of years ago, its essence endures. Not in the form of bones or fossils alone, but in the living descendants that prowl our world. Every lion that stalks the savannah, every tiger that slips through the jungle, every leopard that crouches in the shadows, all of them carry echoes of Magerifelis. Even the domestic cats that curl up on our couches, purring softly as they drift to sleep, are living reminders of this ancient hunter. Think about that for a moment. The way your cat crouches before it pounces on a toy. The way its eyes narrow, its body coils, its muscles tense. That behavior is not new. It is ancient. It is the same instinct that once drove Magerifelis to stalk birds and reptiles in the Miocene grasslands. In every playful leap, in every silent step, you are witnessing a fragment of deep time, a behavior passed down through millions of years of survival. This is the true legacy of Magerifelis. It was not the largest predator. It was not the most fearsome, but it was a pioneer. It carried within it the blueprint of what it means to be a cat. And that blueprint has endured, refined, and perfected until today. There is something profoundly humbling about this. To realize that the ordinary cats we see every day are not just companions or curiosities, but living fossils. They are the continuation of a story that began long before humans walked the earth. A story written in claws and teeth, in stealth and silence, in the eternal dance between predator and prey. And so, Magerifelis peignei is not truly gone. It lives on in the DNA of its descendants. It lives on in the instincts of every feline. It lives on in the balance of ecosystems shaped by cats across the globe. Its body may have vanished, but its spirit endures. This is the paradox of Magerifelis, a predator so small, so easily overlooked, yet so monumental in its impact. Forgotten by time, yet immortal in legacy. A whisper from the Miocene that still echoes in the purr of a house cat, in the roar of a lion, in the silent step of a leopard. And now, you know its secrets. 7 rare facts about a cat that changed the world, even if the world has almost forgotten its name. This is the story of Magerifelis peignei, a story of survival, of legacy, and of the hidden threads that connect the past to the present. And perhaps, the next time you look into the eyes of a cat, you will see not just a pet, not just an animal, but a living echo of an ancient predator whose legacy will never truly die.